Hello and welcome to the session. Now let's continue few of the other little advanced topics. So let's see this screenshots. So we have a class called as we have an interface called as a text screenshot. If you remember this example, text screenshot as an interface that is implemented by remote web driver and also again extended into Chrome driver and Firefox driver. So how do we take a screenshot? So why screenshot is required? Now in certain cases where your tests which are running through automation, they may fail because of some uncertain reason. So at that time you would want to know what was the elements and what was the uh, elements, what was it was shown on the screen. So that is why you can take a screenshot and attach in the report that at this particular time this was the state of the web page. So how do we do that? So we have this take screenshot class. So what do? You have to typecast driver to this take screenshot, and you have to use the get screenshot as method. Using this way you can get a screenshot and you can dump it into a file. It will be, I think, png file. And now that will be you will point it to a file object, and you have to copy that to a particular file name. So I will say screenshot.png. Now if you see here, at the moment there is no screenshot taken, so there is no extra file here. Now I will just run this. So what it will do, it will go to that particular website, it will take a screenshot and it will put it, it will dump it with this name called as screenshot.png. There is a little delay here, so it will be a bit slow. Right, so now you see there's an additional file here. I'll just double click on it. So this is how it will take the screenshot. Now this screenshot on that particular path you can attach in the report, and that will be shown to the stakeholders. So screenshot. Now let us see JavaScript executor. Now for some of the programming requirements, it may not be possible to find a web element or do certain operation. So we have something called as a JavaScript executor. Okay, JavaScript executor. So that is again one of the interface here, which is again implemented by remote web driver. So using JavaScript executor uh, interface, we can run some of the JavaScripts. So what we do, we typecast this driver to the JavaScript executor, and we can actually run some of the JavaScript uh, uh, on that particular screen or on that particular HTML content. So for example, there are various JavaScripts. So using JavaScript, you can scroll down by some of the pixels. So vertically 250 pixel, 250, 250 like that. You can scroll up. So minus 250 and so on. So window dot scroll is basically, this is the JavaScript, actual JavaScript that you can call, that you can execute. So we have what we need to do is we need to have a variable on the left hand side, and right hand side you need to just typecast it and JavaScript executor and execute script. Okay, this will execute that particular script. You can have delay using JavaScript. So now there are two methods here. One is execute script and one is execute asynchronous script. So those are slightly different. Obviously the name says that it is asynchronous. So window.set timeout and 5,000 milliseconds. So this particular JavaScript will be executed. That means there will be a delay of 5,000 milliseconds. Now we will have just put a time gap. So just to calculate the difference. Okay, now another thing is execute script and window dot scroll by and document height. So now uh, earlier also there's a scroll here, vertical scroll. So this will actually scroll by limited pixels. Okay, whatever number of pixel you mentioned, that by that pixel it will scroll down. Now if you want to actually go to the bottom, then this is the script. This is the JavaScript, window dot set timeout and no, this one, scroll by and document body dot scroll height. So it will basically directly go to the bottom of the web page. Now that is one thing. So you can find element also using JavaScript. So JavaScript dot execute script and return document dot get element by ID. Okay, by ID. So here there are limitations. You cannot find all the elements like CSS, XPath and all, but there are certain elements you can find. So this is by ID. So this will return a web element, and then you can, it's basically text box. So you can send some keys to the text box on this website. Now you can click using JavaScript also. So this is a web element, and you want to click on the web element using JavaScript. Now you might ask that why do we need to click on that element using JavaScript? Why can't we just we can say button dot click? Now practically it so happens that certain situations we have to use JavaScript. We cannot use the normal web element dot click method. So it is an optional, and it's up to you if you want to use it or not. Now we can set the value of an element using JavaScript. So we can set the value of this particular email, the element by ID email to this particular value. Okay, so multiple things are possible. So let me just comment this and let's run it. Okay, so first thing is the scrolling part. Second thing is the delay. Third thing is again scrolling to the bottom. And next things are sending the keys and setting and clicking on the particular element using JavaScript. Okay, so it will scroll down by 250 pixel. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. So 3 scroll down and 3 times scroll up. Yeah, one more time scroll up. Okay, now next part. Okay, now if you see there's a huge web page, so vertically huge. So I just want to go to the bottom directly. So it has directly come to the bottom. Okay. Now next thing is sending a text to a text box using JavaScript executor. Yeah, so this has set the text, and I think it will click on some element. Yeah, it has clicked on that button also. So executing click option. And last thing is yeah, setting the text also. Okay, so it has now set up the text using, so sending the keys using JavaScript or setting the text for that particular element. Okay, and so on. So JavaScript also, there are a variety of JavaScripts we will see. This is a simple example. Now next thing is another sometimes tricky. So how to play and pause the YouTube video. So it's a bit tricky. So you need to find that particular element, that play button, and just click on it. So it will pause. Again click on it. So it will play, and it will be in the loop. So let's just run it. So it will go to YouTube and some video. Once it is loaded, then it will play and pause. So there's a difference. There's a delay between play and pause. It has started. It has paused. Again play and close. Okay, so this is again the additional part. Now let us see. Yeah, page load timeout. Now what happens is, for different reasons, or yeah, so for certain reasons, we would want to know how much time it is taking to load a particular web page. Now in this case, I am using a very simple example, but it can be a little complicated also. So you do some action and land on a particular page, and you want to know how much time it is taking to load that particular web page. So it can be slightly automated, so using this technique. So what I'm doing is, so I'm going to this website, and what I'm doing, I am running a particular JavaScript. Now this is a custom JavaScript which probably will work for all the cases, but this is how it is. So you have to write this particular, or you can just copy paste this from the sample code also. If you run this particular JavaScript, this entire JavaScript. So what will happen? It will return you one JSON part, and using that JSON, basically the return part, you can check what is the time, how much time it has taken to load that particular website. This is again a little experimental thing, but at least this can be automated. Now I have run this script. I have run the script, so it will open up that particular website. I think it will do it in a loop, and after certain iteration, it will give us the result, how much time it has taken to load that particular web page. Now this timing again has a lot of other things, so depends on your network speed, depends on how much RAM in your system, and depends on how is the network traffic, multiple things. But at least something we have so that we can uh, automate this. Okay, so it is hitting the same web page multiple times. Yes, so it has finished, and so when the JavaScript will be run, there will be additional, there's so many folders and files will be created extra, which is understandable because the JavaScript runs and dumps the logs in some local folder. Now, having said that, if you see, it has hit that particular website 10 times, and it has printed the performance script output, so JavaScript executor output. Now this is a typical JavaScript executor output, and this is in JSON format. So JSON is again a format in which we can represent the data. So if you see here, there are multiple metrics available. So um, there's a response start, a response end, and domain end, domain lookup end. There's a duration. Yeah, so this is the duration. If you see, for multiple hits that it has taken, so that much of the duration. So you can parse this response and extract this um, duration wala part, duration. Yeah, duration. So when uh, you can calculate the average time taken by, out of 10 times average time, this is the average time, this is the maximum time. So this is how you can uh, have the page load time calculation. Okay, so those next sessions we will see in the subsequent sessions. Thank you.